Hi everybody, here we are again back in the Now group for our 12th It's All About You Facebook Live interviews for you, the members in this group, so that you can showcase yourself, your business or yourself. And like I say, you don't even need to have a business to be in this group. You don't even need to have a business to be doing a Facebook Live here with me, because it's a great way to get confident to be in front of the camera. And not only that, it helps you to be confident in every single thing that you do. So today we have Sarah, and Sarah has got something really interesting to tell us about what she does. So Sarah, who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name's Sarah Wedderburn Ogilvy, and I do a few things actually. Number one, I run children's and toddler yoga classes monthly at Canning Street in Edinburgh, and also in Burnt Island at the space upstairs in Fife. Number two, I run a women's group in Fife called Women Make Fife, and that is just a free group for anyone that works, plays, or lives in Fife to come and join if they want to join a safe community where they can just ask any questions. A bit like now, really, but for women in Fife. And thirdly, which is the thing that I'm concentrating on mostly probably today, is my women's circles. I run women's circles monthly, so new moon circles, and that's another safe space. It's a safe space for women to come and gather together to just sort of work on themselves, work on self-development things, work on their spirituality, not religion, spirituality, and work on reconnecting with nature, the seasons and the cycles. And I also run a monthly group for women in business that does pretty much the same thing, but we concentrate a wee bit more on business stuff, and you get the added bonus of getting to network with other women as well.
Fantastic. Now, I'm interested in I'm not interested in everything, but I mean, I'm a grandmom and I don't have little children with me. And maybe one day when they're a little bit older, I'll come along for some yoga with them. But I'm interested in your group for women, that your group where it's all about your circle, where it's all about our monthly cycles. Now, it's something I have to hand on heart, never bothered with at all in the slightest. So do tell me about it. I'm dying to know.
I am very much a beginner in all of this, so I'm wanting to bring women on a learning journey with me. I've been tracking my cycles, tracking them as in I know when my period is going to be coming ever since, well, just before I got pregnant with my son, really, because you start doing that when you're trying to conceive. You try and figure out when you're ovulating. And then after I had my son, they didn't come back for a while, but since then I've been noticing a definite pattern to how I work, like my moods each month. I'll go through natural highs and lows in a month. And I've not gone back on the contraceptive pill because I didn't want to have artificial hormones after having my son and breastfeeding. So I've been kind of looking into that a wee bit more and working it with the sort of ebb and flow of the seasons as well. So being sort of super active in the summer and then sort of coming in and retreating into yourself in the winter as well. And then reading into that a bit more, it turns out that actually you can view your menstrual cycle in the same way. So your summer is coming into ovulation and your winter is coming into menstruation. So there's a point in your cycle where you actually want to go out and meet people and just shout. And I suppose evolutionarily wise, that's like when you're coming into ovulation, you're going to go out and meet a guy. And
Makes
then,
sense.
yeah, and then when you're coming into menstruation, if you haven't conceived, then you're just wanting to retreat into yourself. You're not really wanting to do anything. And actually, it really helps with my menstrual sort of like, I get discomfort when I'm on my period, which I am just now, super sharing. Yeah, I get discomfort unless I actually take it easy. So I do try and take it easy and not make too many appointments when I'm on my period, which is partly why I've now moved my way of working to doing more monthly classes rather than weekly classes as well. But yeah, that's about it. I think I've answered everything there.
Yeah. Do you know, it is fascinating and it makes sense
Yeah.
because on the actual aspect, we're talking about blood there, and blood is liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And our bodies are, it's always different disagreements, 70, 80% of water or fluid. And we know that the moon itself has an effect because we can see it with the
Yeah.
tides.
Mm-hmm.
how it pulls it in and takes it out. So it's got to have an effect on us.
Exactly. And even if we don't actually have any cycles at the moment, if we don't menstruate, then what a lot of the experts are saying, the women that have looked into this and done a lot more study than me, what they're saying is actually what you should be doing if you are sort of menopausal and you want to actually try and follow a cycle, work with the moon cycles. Work with the moon cycles, and the new moon would be your time to go inwards, and your full moon, which we've just had, would be the time to go out and explore. Now, obviously, not everyone's menstrual cycle works with that. So you've got to kind of like pick which you're working with, pick which affects you most, basically, as well. And definitely with the seasons as well. I think it's so important that, like, you know, it's one of those things, we all make New Year's resolutions in January, which is a time that we should still be retreating. So no wonder when we're saying we're going to go out and go running, a lot of us fall by the wayside in stormy February.
Yeah.
Like just work on, I like to work on monthly, like working with the moon again, I like to work on monthly sort of affirmations, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to concentrate on. And then at the full moon, I like to see what I've set, I celebrate what I've done. And I also like to let go of anything that no longer serves me, because I could have made a decision to do something 2 months ago and it could be really working, and then all of a sudden it's not. But if I concentrate on looking at that monthly and I realize that it's not working for me, then I can get rid of it. It's you know, I can decide like that's been helpful up until now, it's now no longer serving me, because a lot of our unhealthy habits are crutches for a reason as well. One that I've still got to work on though is sugar. I'm really bad with sugar.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, isn't it? And when you say about, you know, like myself, you know, I am menopausal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have been for about 15 years, but
Yeah.
you know, some people just go on like forever. And, you know, I can control it. I know what when it's happening. I know what's what. But you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned the full moon and the new moon. Can
Mm-hmm.
you give us a little bit more there? Because I missed that. You know, what would be the
So with the new moon, that would be kind of, if you were treat your the moon cycle as a menstrual cycle, basically. If you're looking at seasons and sort of good times, the new moon is a good time to come into yourself. That's the time when I actually focus on doing my intentions, is the new moon. And then when it comes round, like we're going up, then we sort of do our waxing period. So the moon is getting bigger up until the full moon, which would be your point of ovulation otherwise. And with that full moon, then what you're doing is you're then taking stock of everything and you're getting rid of what doesn't serve you and you're celebrating what does. But yeah, that's a way of working it, basically. So it's like treating the full moon as ovulation and treating the new moon as menstruation. Or your full moon is the summer and your new moon is the winter. So you're out and you're about and you're celebrating in the summer, and you're inside hibernating, working on yourself in the winter.
I love it. I do love it. And it's great as well because, for example, if you didn't believe,
Mm-hmm.
say you didn't believe in what you've just said there, you
Yeah.
could still use those times
Mm-hmm.
to create a ritual, an intention.
Well, that's
And
it. Yeah, if you don't believe in the moon energy or anything, it's still a really good thing to just sort of have a monthly. So set it up monthly, once a month, every couple of weeks. Look at your intentions. A couple of weeks later, look at how you're going with those intentions. If there's something that's not quite working, weed it out. It's like planting a garden. It's constantly tending it. You're planting the seeds, you're weeding, and then hopefully at some point you're harvesting as well all of these good, abundant fruits that you're making. So yeah.
fabulous. So what do you do? What do you suggest if we want to create something in our lives? What do you do yourself?
I am currently working on. I'm not the best at organization. I will give you that. I've got a lot more sort of like imagination than organization. But what I'm really trying to do is write down one word a day so that I can actually go back and focus on that. So at the end of every day, I write down a word of how my day has kind of been, basically. Um, so it's like, you know, 2 days ago, just before I had my period, I was super stressed. I was super worked up. So I wrote down sort of irritated. And that was because my period was coming. And actually, if I look back over the last couple of months, I'll probably find that round about the same time in my cycle, I felt the same way. My husband notices it now. My husband's like, is it not time for your period? And I'm just like, yeah, okay. And there was a time where I thought I had to fix it. I had to fix it. There's a reason, like, I'm hormonal, I need to fix this. But actually, it's just the way we are as women. And if I can work with it, if I can make it work in our lives, then that's
Yeah,
great. If it
yeah.
becomes an issue and I start throwing things and shouting at him and shouting at my son, it's an issue and I have to go and look at it. But if I'm just a wee bit irritated and they know to give me a bit of space, then actually that works for us.
Yeah,
So
because everybody knows, you have what's happening there, as opposed to this, oh my God, you're having another tantrum today, or you're having another
mhm.
stress day. And it's fabulous that your husband's taking note as well. Well done, you.
It's been a long process. Actually, you know what? It's been a long process. I say that, but he probably realised before me that there was a pattern, and it was his suggestion. So I will give him full credit for that.
Wow.
With the menstrual part anyway, because I've been trying to follow like stuff and tracking it, but it was him that noticed the pattern in the moods, and then on reading further into it, that's a thing. So yeah.
My goodness, I think that's fantastic. That's sort of like his feminine side has come out a little bit there and
Yes,
and
and we all
picked
have a
up.
masculine and feminine side, and we all have to try and encourage a good balance of both of them. So
Oh, so true, so true. So going into the child and toddler yoga,
mhm.
you hold those in Fife and Edinburgh, don't you?
Fife in Edinburgh, yes, Burnt Island in the space upstairs, and Edinburgh at Canning Street. And actually, there's a toddler one and a children's one this Sunday. Um, at Canning Street. So the toddler one, we're reading and we do story yoga. So we work with a story, songs and games. We're reading Guess How Much I Love You by Sam McBratney and Anita Jerem. It's the wee rabbits. It's not brown hair. Love you to the moon and back again, basically. And for the children's yoga, we are doing a workshop on heart opening poses. So it's called All You Need Is Love. So we're doing heart opening poses, so things that will open your chest up. And we're doing affirmations with them as well, so that they can basically learn to love themselves. Because if you learn that at a young age, then you've got so much more going for you. I've been trying to learn it again as an adult, and it's harder when you're older.
Yeah, well, it is because we've picked up so many words and feelings and
Yeah.
senses just as we've been growing. So
Mhm.
obviously, mums and or dads come with the
They
child.
come with the toddlers, and with the children, they drop them off. Now they can wait in the reception of Cam and Canning, or they can go away to a cafe for an hour. I've got them for an hour, and they come back at the end of it. Now I've been giving out little sort of almost like a sort of two-sheeted side of paper with like exercises for the children to remember what they've done, and then a colourful mandala, to sort of a mandala on the back to colour in as well, just for mindfulness. Because it's not just yoga, it's, well, obviously yoga is about breathing, but we teach them breathing exercises, we teach them mudras with their hands, I teach them mindfulness techniques. It's great. It's all fun
Yeah.
as well. They love it.
It sounds like just going to play school.
Basically, yeah.
And at the same time that they're learning, they're doing exercises that stimulate the chakras and the rest of the system,
And
which,
it's
yeah,
great for their emotional toolboxes if they're able to sort of then put that breathing exercise that they had a lot of fun with in yoga into their everyday lives. They can learn to calm down, they can learn to have more confidence. There's so many benefits of it. But the one thing is, they do have to want to go. I've had children go before that their parents have made them, and it's difficult for them and it's difficult for me because they don't want to be participating.
yeah,
But if they've got show the slightest bit of interest, they come along, they have lots of fun, and it's great. They learn a lot of stuff. They don't realize they're learning it because it's fun, and it's win-win all round. Really, I love it.
absolutely. So if anybody wanted to bring their child or children along, do they have to book with you?
They do have to book. That if they check my Facebook page, Child's Pose Yoga UK, or there's a link I think in this live as well for my actual website, Child's Pose Yoga. Then they can go on there and they can be directed to the booking page to book for a class. I think there's
Excellent.
only one more space in the toddler yoga. There's a few in the kids class, but there's only one more space as of like before I came on this live on the toddler one, so they'd have to do it quite quickly.
That's wonderful, isn't it? That there are parents out there who want their children to grow up at ease.
Well, that's it. You get a lot of yoga parents, you get a lot of parents that don't do yoga as well, that just appreciate that, like, you know, their children like the story and they're going to come and introduce them to these fun, mindful concepts. And it's a great way to move your body. And even in the toddler class, you can be a parent that does yoga, you can be a parent that's not. Oh, it's about stretching. It's about, I call it pre-yoga, because it's teaching the concepts of yoga, introducing them to little kids who may or may not get it in nursery, because some nurseries are great and already do it, which is just fab.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Sarah, there is a lot of learning we've got from these last few minutes. Thank you so much. And as I said, yes, I'm going to put the links up so anybody can click on those. If they want to know any more about what we've talked about, message you. I'm sure you'll be willing to speak to anybody. And if anybody
I'll chat
wants
to anyone, yeah.
And what was that?
I'll chat to anyone about anything, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, nice. I love that, yeah. So that is the end of our 12th It's All About You Facebook Live interview chatting. Now, all these videos go up onto YouTube, and from YouTube, you can download them, you can save them, you can use them. And there's so many different ways you can use these, which I am creating a PDF, and that will come to everybody who has carried out these Facebook Lives with me. If you're interested in sitting here with me, there are a few spaces left in March, not many. Then we're into April, and then we've got 9 days in May. So I'm going to be here for a wee while yet. So I'm going to love you and leave you, and thank you so much, Sarah. That was fascinating. All right. Okay, now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.